Will 2026 be the last contract year for Kyle Busch? This announcement puts to rest recent speculation about Busch's future in NASCAR, at least temporarily, and solidifies the driver lineup at RCR for another season. Kyle Busch is one of NASCAR's most successful and well-known drivers. He's won over 200 races across NASCAR's 3 national series and is a 2-time Cup Series champion. Busch began his career in the early 2000s and has raced for some of the most elite teams in the sport. After spending 15 seasons at Joe Gibbs Racing, where he won 2 championships, Busch made a significant change in 2023 by joining RCR. He replaced Tyler Reddick in the number 8 car. His first year with RCR in 2023 started strong. He won 3 races in the first 13 events of the season. These wins came at Auto Club Speedway, Talladega Superspeedway, and Gateway. That early success showed a lot of promise and made it look like Busch and RCR might be a powerful new combination. However, after those early wins, the performance dropped off. Busch didn't win another race for the rest of the season. In fact, since those initial victories, he hasn't visited victory lane again. This inconsistency has become one of the major challenges in the partnership between Busch and RCR. Despite the ups and downs, RCR team owner Richard Childress expressed his faith in Kyle Busch.
You know, Kyle has been great to work with. You know, everybody had questions going in. I love a driver that don't like to lose. And we've worked hard. We've got some exciting things coming up. He and I are both alike in one area, that we don't like to lose. We want to win races. I still think that Kyle will win him a championship, and we want it to happen at RCR, and that's our plans.
For his part, Busch called his time at RCR fun but challenging. That's a simple but honest assessment. The relationship started off exciting with fast cars and victories, but the last year has brought struggles, including poor finishes and difficulties competing with top teams like Hendrick Motorsports, Joe Gibbs Racing, and Team Penske. It's important to note that this new deal is not a long-term extension. RCR simply picked up Busch's option for 2026. It's a 1-year agreement, similar to the kind of deals drivers like Daniel Suarez have signed in the past. This kind of short-term deal can be seen as a prove-it contract. It allows both the driver and the team to see if the partnership is still working well without committing to several more years. This decision also shows the current situation in the NASCAR free agent market. Right now, there aren't many great alternatives for Busch. Most of the top teams already have their driver lineup set. Hendrick Motorsports recently locked in William Byron for several more years. Joe Gibbs Racing, where Busch used to race, doesn't appear to have any seats opening soon. And Denny Hamlin's future with the number 11 car seems secure, especially if sponsor deals like Progressive Insurance are renewed. At Team Penske, the lineup is stable as well. Even though some fans speculate about Austin Cindric's future, especially since his father Tim Cindric is no longer in a leadership role, there's no solid sign that he'll be replaced anytime soon. Trackhouse Racing might have an opening if Daniel Suarez leaves, but that's not confirmed, and it's not a major step up from RCR in terms of performance right now. As for teams like Spire Motorsports, those would likely be considered lateral moves or even a step backward for a driver of Busch's caliber. At 40 years old, Kyle Busch is not considered too old to be competitive. Drivers like Kevin Harvick and Mark Martin continue to win races into their mid-40s. Busch could very well have several good years left. However, one thing working against him is his salary. Busch is a future Hall of Famer, and with over 200 wins across all NASCAR National Series, he commands a high price. Many teams may hesitate to pay top dollar for an older driver when they could invest in a younger, cheaper talent like Corey Heim or Connor Zilisch, both of whom are seen as future stars of the sport. This financial factor makes it harder for Busch to find a ride with a top-tier team, even if he's still very talented. Younger drivers often bring more long-term value to a team, not just in results, but also in marketability and sponsor appeal. Teams are increasingly focused on developing the next generation of drivers, and that can limit the options for veterans like Busch, especially if they aren't winning races consistently. That being said, staying at RCR still gives Busch a chance to compete at the highest level. While RCR is not quite on the same level as Hendrick, Gibbs, or Penske, it's still a playoff caliber team. They have strong equipment, smart crew chiefs, and enough resources to compete with the best teams on certain weekends. If Busch and the team can improve their consistency, they could contend for wins and even a championship once again. Especially in 2023 and 2024, Kyle Busch's performance was not what fans were used to seeing. One big factor is the NextGen car, which was introduced in 2022. This car is very different from the one Kyle used to race during his most dominant years. His driving style, pushing the car hard and driving it loose, does not match the way the NextGen car works best. He's openly admitted that he's still trying to get a good feel for it. Before the pandemic, NASCAR allowed 2 to 3 hours of practice on race weekends. That time was very important for drivers like Kyle Busch, who rely on feeling the car during practice, giving feedback to the crew chief, and making adjustments before the race. Now, teams often just get 20 minutes of practice, and that has really hurt Busch's ability to prepare properly. With such a short window, there's barely any time to test setups or try different things. Busch is a driver who has always depended on communication and fine-tuning. Without enough time, it becomes harder for him to find that perfect setup. Another key issue is the overall strength of Richard Childress Racing compared to Kyle's old team. JGR is one of the top teams in NASCAR, with huge resources, better access to data, and consistent performance. RCR, while still a respected name, is seen as a second-tier team. That means they don't always have the same level of technology or depth and engineering staff. They've made some big hires recently, including Richard Boswell and Johnny Klausmeier, but they missed out on some top names like Rodney Childers. That shows that while they're trying to improve, they still face challenges when it comes to competing with the very best teams like Hendrick Motorsports or Penske. Another thing to consider is location. Most top NASCAR teams are based in the Charlotte, North Carolina area, but RCR is based in Welcome, North Carolina, which is farther away. That distance might make it hard for them to hire and keep top talent because some people don't want to relocate or commute long hours. Kyle Busch recently said he wants to spend more time at the race shop, which is a good sign, but it also highlights a possible weakness in the team structure, being a bit isolated from NASCAR's main hub. As for the driver lineup at RCR, the team recently confirmed that Kyle Busch and Austin Dillon will continue in their Cup Series cars for the 2025 season. But this is not a long-term extension. It's simply RCR using the one-year option they already had in Kyle's contract. The one-year deal suggests that both he and the team are still figuring things out. This also affects younger drivers like Austin Hill and Jesse Love. Hill is already 31 years old and has been successful in the Xfinity Series, but time is running out for him to move up to the Cup Series. If he doesn't make the jump soon, it may never happen. Jesse Love is much younger and still needs more time to develop. He's made a few Cup starts, but had a rough moment when he spun out during one race. So for now, it looks like RCR is sticking with its experienced duo while keeping the door open for changes after 2025 or 2026. As always, don't hesitate to comment down your thoughts on this. And while you're down there, make sure to hit that subscribe button as well.